singers, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about breathing. I'm going to help you create some awareness in a different part of the breath mechanism, not that belly breath that we usually focus on, but expanding a little bit into the side ribs and back. Then I'm going to show you an exercise for really using that type of breath expansion side to side. And finally, I'm going to talk about some ways that you might be able to use this to extend the length of your breath in your singing. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'd like for you to put your hands on top of the head. And when we breathe here, you'll be able to feel some expansion in the side ribs and across the back. Now you may not be able to see much, but I definitely feel something. It's almost as though my rib cage were an umbrella, and I feel this kind of opening like this, 360 degrees. So I also feel opening across the back, like my ribs are just sort of opening up. It's a beautiful feeling. Let's try that one more time. Breathe in and feel that expansion. And now before you let that breath out, why don't we put the hands down and onto the side ribs? You can feel that nice buoyancy and expansion, and blow out. Take another one in, see if you can recreate that space without the hands on the head. And out. So keep cycling that breath with the hands there. And let me just make a little caveat here. I want to explain that although you may have seen some of my past videos about the engaged out, released in breath cycle, and those have mostly focused on the sensation in the lower part of the belly. This is not really an alternative to that. It will be happening, this sideways expansion will be happening at the same time as that released inhalation and engaged exhalation, but it might feel a little bit different for those of you who have a body that's shaped different from mine. I tend to feel my breath principally here and across the back. I don't feel a lot in the sides, but I have a lot of students for whom this sensation of the ribs floating outward actually gives them a lot more sensory feedback. So go with what feels best for you. You'll notice that neither of them is raising the shoulders or creating that sort of shallow breath. You're still getting release as you inhale and engagement here as you exhale. Now let's talk about what happens here on the exhalation when you're kind of tapping into this sideways expansion in the ribs. If you take an inhalation with the hands on the low ribs, so feel that umbrella opening, and then let's send the breath out on no. All the way to the end of the breath. Take the breath in, feel the expansion, and go again. No. Now, if you're feeling a sudden collapse as you begin to make sound, I really want you to pay attention to that and see if you can resist it. This is how we're going to tie into this quick tip that I was talking about before, this trick that you can try in your repertoire. If you are feeling that sudden collapse, or if you'd like to try extending the breath longer, something that you can play around with is to take the breath, expand the ribs, and then as you make that sound or through your singing phrase, you can try to float the ribs outward and actually keep them expanding. Don't let them collapse as you sing or voice. So let's try that again, and we're going to try and keep that opening in the umbrella as we make noise. Inhale and go. No. So tell me, what did that do for you? For some of you, you might have found that absolutely transformational, that suddenly the breath was able to last much longer and that you had a sense of stability and control over the breath. If that's what happened for you, terrific. Let me also say though, that this is not an exercise that I use regularly except in special situations, because in my body, this kind of outward pressure also creates a little bit of tension in my neck, and I don't really want that. So if this works for you, terrific. If not, you can put it aside. But I do want to mention one way that this might be helpful for you in your repertoire as you sing. The only time that I use this for myself is when I'm in a singing phrase and I realize I start to get that little feeling of, I don't think I'm gonna make it with my breath to the end of the phrase. Have you ever had that feeling? So if I am in the middle of a phrase and breathing as I normally do, focusing more on the lower belly, if I start to get that inkling that I'm not gonna quite extend my phrase far enough, I will sometimes just at that point try to give a little bit of an outward float in the ribs. And sometimes that can be just the reserve tank that I need to help me make it to the end. So let's actually try a scale here, and I'd like for you to try this with me as an experiment. We're gonna go slowly, just up and down an octave on la 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 la. Nothing could be simpler, but I'm purposely going to make it slow so that it's a long phrase. And if at some point you start to feel I'm running out of breath, go ahead and see if you can keep those ribs floating a little bit and see if that can buy you some extra time in the phrase. So let's go here, la, and we're gonna go up and down the octave. Okay, inhale, ribs out. La, 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 la. Ooh, I really needed it for those last 4 or 5 notes. I started feeling right after I crested the top that I was starting to run out, and so that helped me to just feel a little bit more stability and not choke up here in the neck. Should we try one more? Let's go here. Ready? Breath in, ribs out. La, 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 la. Just made it again. So again, for me, this is not something I use every day. For some of you, if this feels terrific, maybe even better than focusing on the belly, go for it. Absolutely use it. You should always go for what creates the most comfort and function in your own body. Thanks for experimenting with me. Let me know what the result was for you down in the comments below. And if you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that I can see you next Thursday for more clear, fun voice education. Thanks for practicing.